Hey guys, so I'm back again today with another tutorial. Today we're going to be doing a Valentine's Day themed nail. Um, for the most part, I think everything that we're going to be using for this video that I have on this table is easily accessible. As you can see, I've already prepped, primed, and applied my tip. So we're just gonna move right along to a smooth transition. I'm gonna file the sides, apply my primer. Really quick, I want you guys to note that you don't need a lot of primer. Just use a very small amount around the natural nail. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my first pearl. This color is our Carnation Acrylic Core Powder. It's available on NuniTorres.com or by clicking the link on my Instagram bio. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my white pearl. Now this looks like it's going to be a pink and white, but it's not. It just so happens that the colors that I'm choosing for this Valentine's Day set happen to be, you know, pink and white. So you'll notice I'm not ombreing anything. I'm just applying the products on. The next thing I'm going to do is come in with my glitter acrylic and kind of just bring both of these colors together. Normally I use glitter for these types of nails, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to use a flat matte confetti. It kind of spreads like glitter and has a nice glitter-ish effect, just without the sparkle. I don't exactly remember where I got the glitter mix from, but I know I've had it for quite a long time. It isn't one of my personal mixes. I want to say I might have had this for over like 3 or 4 years actually. Another thing you want to pay attention to when you are about to apply your glitter or confetti mixes, you want to make sure that the glitter that you're using underneath it is completely dry, only because when you're applying the glitter, it can kind of get stuck into the acrylic, and then it kind of just gets a little messy, so you just want to pay attention to that. We're going to apply a super thin layer. Remember guys, when you're working with encapsulated nails, less is more. Do not use too much glitter or too much confetti or too much anything, because you're going to end up with a super thick, bulky nail. I'm going to go ahead and apply a few Fimo cane pieces. You can get these things all over the internet. When I first got them, they were just a tad bit too thick, so I had to like slice them in half. Now the fun part begins. We're going to go ahead and encapsulate this. Keep in mind that because you're working with an uneven surface, your very first pearl, I would recommend you do it a little more on the wet side, only because of the fact that there's so many little nooks and crannies, and you want the acrylic to kind of seep into those uneven edges. That way you don't end up with any air pockets. The thing with air pockets is, like, once you kind of have an air pocket, it's a little bit more on the tedious side to kind of undo. So my personal recommendation is just to work with a little bit more of a wet pearl. I know it's not going to be the easiest thing. As you guys can see here, it's going to take me quite a lot of work just to get it nice, easy, and smooth. But ultimately the end result is going to look a lot better. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and finish off here. Notice how towards the end of the application, I just press my brush against the edge of the nail and remove the excess. A lot of time people forget about the excess, and it kind of gets like tucked underneath the acrylic, so pay attention to that. You don't want that messy stuff underneath there. I'm going to move right along to the secondary pearl in zone 2, and I'm just going to go ahead and blend that in right into my first pearl. And then the last step of our acrylic application is just going to be me applying the final pearl near the cuticle area. Now, unlike the first 2 pearls, you want to do this one a little bit more on the drier side, just because, how can I explain it? It's kind of like if you make it a little bit too much on the moist side, it'll end up like flooding backwards. And what you'll end up doing is getting acrylic all into the skin, and that's the last thing that you want to do. The reason that getting it into the skin is an issue is because of the fact that, like, once it dries onto the skin, it's really difficult to undo. You'll have to separate the skin from the acrylic, And sometimes this can hurt the client. So the best thing that I would recommend is just make sure that you're paying attention and just clean the sides of the cuticle area or around it if there were to get acrylic on it, but you want to do it before it dries. But anyway, moving right along, I'm going to go ahead and take my hand file the sides, use my e-file to finish the job off, and then I'm going to come in with my buffer. I didn't buff on camera, but I think for the most part, you guys all know how to use a buffer. After all that's done, the last thing to do is to apply your gel top coat. When you're applying your gel top coat, make sure that you don't do a super thick layer. A lot of things can go wrong. One, it could end up a little too lumpy and bumpy. Two, when you put the hand inside the machine for it to cure, the gel, if there's too much on there, it can kind of like focus on one side or lean to the side. And when it dries, you'll notice that it looks really uneven, or you'll sometimes have like bumps in there. So I think less is always more. Just apply a super thin layer, enough to fully cover the entire nail. And with that being said, we come to the end of this super cool tutorial. Guys, I want to give you guys a special thank you for even watching. Obviously, I'm still practicing and learning how to even use a camera per se. Well, my phone camera, because this whole thing was recorded on my phone. But I feel like practice makes perfect. So if you guys have any recommendations or opinions on what I can work on, let me know. Don't be shy. Leave a comment below. I'm definitely going to read them. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Take care.